Well, welcome to Portoroz in Slovenia to Yachting Monthly's test of the Elan 400. So starting at the bow, lovely recessed furler there, so it's all kind of out of the way and low profile. Doesn't mean it goes outside. If you're off the wind, it'll go outside and it'll need skirting inboard when you come back on the wind. You'll also notice the bow roller isn't there. It's removable and it just bolts in, and the chain comes up through here, so it's nice and clean on deck. Under here, got a recessed windlass, electric windlass. You can see where the chain kind of comes up through there. You can see it rubs on the furling line as well, accidentally. And there's your carbon pole, big chain locker as well. Yeah, so that's the jib furler. This is the pole out haul. So a gorgeous little swathe of teak here with flush hatches in there. More teak on the side decks. This is all optional. This boat's loaded with pretty much everything. That ordinarily wouldn't be there. Got a tow rail there. It's not the deepest, but you know, does the job. Coming back here, we see the performance roots of this boat. We've got adjustable sheet cars, and we've also got in-haulers, so you get nice and tight in the flat water and light airs. Swinging around inside here, that's pretty easy, no sweat there. And then get your grab rail, which leads all the way aft to the spray hood, which is, it's built to accommodate the spray hood, which is nice on a performance boat. You'll notice these about the place as well. Retractable cleats, very neat and tidy. Cut down wind resistance. So moving aft, you'll notice these kind of dimpled coamings. Incredibly useful when the boat's heeled over. That's pretty much flat when you're walking up the high side. It makes it so much more easier to move around. Again, more traces of performance roots, because you spend most of your time sitting here, bracing on there. Wind in your hair, styling. Got Harken 46s. There are 3 pairs of them up and down the boat. So you've got this one. This is electric, this one, for the main halyard. You've got the primary there and the main sheet winch there with a nice little sheet bin. The other sheet bin is here. This table is rather tricky, very smooth, and then just pops up and opens out for a lovely spot of lunch. You've got 2 cockpit lockers here. They're both sole depth. They don't go all the way down, because obviously you've got an aft cabin under there. But they are quite big. They're sort of full beam. Coming around, you've got the chart plotters are in the ends of the coamings at the moment. It's a good place for them. The only trouble with these ones is because they're hybrid tows, they have knobs on. So whenever you're trying to load a sheet, you end up flicking this and you get this beep. So I think if that was just pure touch screen, it'd probably work a lot better. Coming down to the helm station, it's very comfortable. You've got these flip up foot blocks there. That's where the emergency tiller goes. So when you're helming, you've just the right angle there. Engine controls, of course. Got the gas locker there, the spares over there. Instruments outboard, so you can sit here quite comfortably, just steering away and checking out your figures. Backstay here, adjustable, it's a split hydraulic. And the last thing to note here is a big live raft locker. With a drain. So another nice idea on this one, we see a lot of drop-down transoms. Here's another version that you can have it higher if you want, so that it closes off the transom to some extent. But this is a kind of infinity platform version. So it just sits down at that level. You can see the step there, so you fold down, walk up, and there's the ladder that just plugs into those two sockets. This is another tricky bit. This lifts off. At that end, there's a spigot that goes into this fitting here, and there are wheels on the other end, so it turns into a passerelle. Just walk in and out when you're stern to. So I've got this really nice cascade washboard here. Goes up and down very softly. Moving blow, I'd like some grab rails on top of here, just because there's not much to grab on your way down. We like the steps though. We like these grab rails, and you've got there is a halyard bin just outside, but if you want to run your halyards down there, plenty of space to do it. Here's the galley. Not much in the way of ventilation by and large, but you've got optional microwave in there, and that loses you a lot, unfortunately. But there's others here. They're good and deep and fiddled. The shelf might make some people happy. There's more stowage back here for bottles and mugs and all that sort of thing. Likewise there. Here's the cooker cover. This is being redesigned because at the moment, as soon as you pop it down, obviously you can't get at the shelf behind. So there's some redesigning going. It needs a hole as well, so you can put your finger in it. Cool box is kind of small. It doesn't have a rubber seal, and it's a bit thin. It doesn't look terribly well insulated. And yeah, like I say, kind of small for a 40-footer. So you know, I mean, I don't think anyone's going to spend weeks on it. It's you could easily weekend it though. So there's this grab rail here, which is very handy moving forward. You've only got this little fiddle though, so you know, it would stop drips and water and stuff. But whether you know some cutlery crashing over, probably end up on the deck. Quite like to see a spray panel there as well, just to stop the furniture getting wet. So stowage generally is pretty good. You've got those two out there, the lockers there, and there's an entire column of drawers here. There's your sort of cleaning locker there under the sink. Under the cooker here, this one, the fridge compressor's under there, so you can't put anything there, but it does have a gas switch. And there's a bin locker there. We love these little latches, very neat, nothing to catch, and just press and open. So this is the 3-cabin version, 2 half cabins. On the 2-cabin version, this would be just a stowage area. The heads would move back and then end up with a proper chart table after the saloon. So it's quite a big berth, about 6'7" long. You've got a sort of split hanging shelf locker here. We particularly like the fact that you've got automatic lights on whenever you open them. There's nothing under here. You've got some batteries under here and the charger. There's some stowage aft. There's another little cubby there where you can keep bits and pieces, another shelf up here, and that's access to the alternator. In the aft of the cabin, in the aft bulkhead there's access through to the transom where you can see both quadrants and the tie bar if you need to do any maintenance to your steering system. So into the heads. It's very bright. It's like one-piece white moulding. Lots of stowage. So there's stowage under here as well. And all outboard too, quite deep. Again, not much ventilation. It's very bright because you've got this nice window here in the blind to give you some privacy, but not the biggest light. We like this. We like the wet locker here. Put your oilies in, where the shower is as well. What's not quite working for me is how you might. I mean, the theory is you put this down when you're showering, fold this out, and then you kind of shower. But then at some stage you're going to have to sit up because there are bits you can't shower when you're sitting down. But as soon as you do that, you'll find yourself kind of compressed in this way. So not an absolute triumph, but it's very spacious, very bright, and it's got all those details that we like. Just need to be quite short to use it. So into the saloon, got these two big hatches here, plenty of ventilation. Got those nice coach roof lights there. They're quite narrow, but you know they're letting lots of light. They're not smoked like these ones, so there's more light coming in there. U-shaped seating this way, which is a bit of a, you know, you have to kind of clamber over the seats to get in. There's a water tank, L-shaped water tank under this one. You've got the calorifier under here. There's some stowage outboard in those lockers. There's also a water tank under this berth as well, so stowage is at something of a premium. You know, I mean, there's a bit to be getting on with. 2-leaf table, there's some stowage in there too. Grab rails here, which are very handy moving forward, so you can lunge from there to here. Don't lunge to here, because this one will give way and turn into a chart table, which is really very neat. It's one of the neatest non-existent chart tables I've seen. Very neat little chart table. There's some stowage under here. You put your pens and stuff over here, and you have of course got this extra grab rail for when you're moving around when it's deployed. Switch panel out here. There's not much stowage for almanacs and so on, but you have got your VHF stereo here and your heater controls. Don't need them today. The windows are a little bit low. If you're sitting around, you can't really peer out of them, but they do let in more light, which is always a plus. So here's the forward cabin. You can see here there's a moulding. If you wanted the two heads, then that's where it would be. Got a very nice little vanity table here, so you can sit here and, I don't know, do your makeup or something. It's very nice lockers here. Little shelves. I really like this one. I think that's great. Again, all with the internal lighting. Some drawers under here as well. The nice little top press switches. And there's tons of stowage under here. All stowage. Got this here for the majority of your light and ventilation, but there's two more here. Obviously this one would be the heads if you have the second heads, but there's another one there just to give you some extra light, a bit more ventilation. So it's pretty light winds out there today. We had sort of 5 to 7, maybe 8, 9 knots true wind. To start with, we were just kind of about 30, 35 apparent wind angle, with 9 to 10 knots of apparent wind speed, making 5.3 to 5.5 knots. Later on, the wind got up a bit, and at 35 degrees to the apparent wind, because again it was still fairly soft, it was, you know, sort of 9, 10. We had 13 to 14 knots of apparent wind, and going upwind at 6.2 to 6.9 knots, so nearly 7 knots, which is fairly outstanding for that angle. Coming down to a fetch, 60 degrees to the apparent wind, we had 7 to 8 knots of apparent wind and 5.5 to 6.1. Further down, 70 to 80, we put the Jenica up, and with 6 to 8 knots of apparent wind, we were making 6.8 to 7.6 knots, so pretty much as fast as the apparent wind. And then finally, at 90, broad beam reaching, we had 5 to 7 knots of apparent wind, 6.3 to 7.1, before dropping down to 120, which is 5 to 6 knots of apparent wind, making 5.9 to 6.4. So it's quick, and this is, because this was the boat they took to Dusseldorf, to the boat show, it's loaded with everything, so it's got teak decks, it's got 2 plotters, it's got the works, it's fitted out with everything, there's a microwave there, all these extras that add to the weight, and it still performed beautifully. You know, the helm positions, very comfortable. You've got to lean almost too far back if you're to leeward, so you're kind of tipping over backwards. To windward it's fine, you can just rest happily against the rail and tweak the wheel, watch the instruments. It feels wonderful. They've got quite large chord rudders rather than traditional kind of high aspect things, and that just gives, it's a bit more forgiving when you're using it. So it felt delicious, and then when the wind picked up, you just ended up with a tiny little bit of weather helm just to let you know what's going on. It's great fun to sail compared to the 310 and the 350. The fit out is much better. It's much more durable, it's much more comfortable, and it's just better designed. So you'll like sailing. You won't be poor because the base boat is 155,000 without tax, euros that is. And I think spec'd up to this level it was about 215 without tax, so maybe 220, 225 with tax sterling. You could get it for that. So it's not a cheap boat, but it's huge fun. It looks amazing, sails like a dream. It's got 3 very good cabins on this one. So yeah, it's a couple with children, maybe grown-up children, or friends that just want to go out on a Wednesday night or whatever and go sailing. You could use it at the weekends. The fridge isn't very big, so you're not going to spend a week on board. But if you want to hop from port to port and you're going out to dinner and so on, it's perfect for that. You'll have a whale of a time.